What's up, everyone? Today I am going to be working on this imported Chinese elm and taking a look at some of the structure. All right, well, let me give this a spin here really quick so you guys can see the whole tree. Now, I've just spent the better part of probably 8 hours thinning out the leaves and trimming back a lot of the shoots. So when Chinese elms leaf out, they tend to be really dense and you can't really see all of the structure. So I've reduced the leaf mass by about 80%. And now I can go in here and kind of look at all of the branches. This tree has a nice amount of age to it, and you can see the characteristics, and the bark are quite nice. The branching in some parts is seemingly really well done. I very much like the way that the crown is shaped here. But in other places, it seems kind of static and maybe not quite as good as it could be. So today, I really want to go through here and kind of analyze how I can make this tree better, not just through regular maintenance process, but actually doing a little bit of tweaking in order to kind of break up some of these pads and give the tree a little bit more dimensionality. So I think that the biggest thing that I notice about this tree as I am looking at the structure is this giant gap right here. And below that gap are this basically one primary branch that's starting right back in here and splitting into a very large kind of fully half circle kind of pad. So it goes all the way back into here and all the way up to here and all the way around. And it's all one level. So what I want to try to do is I want to break this up into smaller pieces in terms of structure and use some of the branching that's already here, carefully bending it so that I can create some more kind of dimension to the space that's in here. So negative spaces are great, but this negative space is a little bit too large, and the size of this pad is also just a little bit kind of weird feeling to me, apart from the fact that it's also very flat for the feeling of the tree to look more natural. I'd want to see more dimension in this branching. So some of these branches are small enough that I can actually get in here and sort of bend them up or bend them down. And that's going to allow me to break up this giant pad into a little bit nicer, smaller bits and pieces. But others are a little bit too stiff in order to be able to really do much with. So it's also possible that I'll have to grow out pieces from here in the center to create new branching at this level. And now with a couple of pieces of wire added, I can kind of break this up a little bit. And I'm leaving these long tails on here on purpose because as the tree starts to grow out, it's going to be harder and harder to see the wire, and that serves as a reminder of the wire being on there so I don't end up with wire scars. So I'm bending this one up to kind of break up the line of the pad. And I have to be kind of careful here because even though we're in the middle of the growing season here, I'm thinking that these branches are not going to be super flexible just based on the size. Ta-da! Looks great, right? Okay, so you can see the effect of that whole operation. I've brought this part up to kind of make a little bit less of a gap here. I think over the long term, it's going to be better if I grow another branch from even further in here, maybe something like this one right here can grow out to become another branch and kind of come out like that. But for the time being, this is an improvement. So I've also brought one up back here, and that has kind of closed down a little bit the gap here. So towards the back, you can see that there's still a lot of space in here. And so I might actually, well, I could bend that up, but I don't know that that's actually going to do much. So I'll need to grow a little bit more branching in here as well. Now turning our attention to this lower left section of the tree, which is kind of the primary branch on the tree, I have sort of the same issue as I had with the upper, sort of the middle right section over there. And so there's not a lot of solutions here that I can do, but what I am going to do is I'm going to kind of create a little bit more separation between these two pieces to just kind of break up this pad. So with one piece of wire on there, I can now kind of move this up a little bit and move that down a little bit. Not a dramatic change, but the other thing I can do here is to just kind of trim the pieces that cause them to look more like a single pad. Now coming back out a little bit, if I turn this to the side, so now looking fully on at the right side, the front lobe branches here need to be coming out this way a little bit further. So I can't do that quickly, but what I can do is on this one here on the right side, I can just leave the twigs that are on the low branches a little bit longer when I trim them, and then over time, as I repeat that process, this branch can come out further here to give the tree more of a three-dimensional feeling than it has right now. Because the branch structure as it sits is a little bit static, kind of left, right, left, right. So we want to enhance the dimensionality by bringing more foliage forward on the low branches. So with this low branch on the right side of the tree, I have the same kind of issue that I have with some of the other branching, which is that there's multiple kind of primary branching pieces coming together to form one giant fan-shaped pad. So I'm going to do the same thing and break this up a little bit. This branch right here is a perfect guy to start sort of an intermediate kind of level in here to break up that pad a little bit. All right, and with a couple wires added down here, I've sort of created that a little bit more dimensionality to this branch the same way that I did up above. So I'll just trim a few of the long shoots here. All right, and with that, I think that I am done for today. I will be very careful to keep an eye on these wires as the tree starts to grow again. And I would expect that this thing is going to be in about 6 or 7 weeks. It will be completely full of new shoots and leaves again. And at that point, I might let it grow out a little bit so that I can accomplish some of the things we talked about in terms of these pads getting bigger, or just allowing myself to have a few more options in terms of trimming back. That wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.